Now turn to this week's weather forecast with Al Dutcher. You'll notice our climatologist is making what looks to be a fashion statement this week, but he assures us it's only because he broke a more conventional set of glasses earlier. Here's Al with his weekly forecast.
Well, folks, here we are again for the weekly forecast. Before we get to the main forecast, let's take a look at what's happened during this last 7 days. And of course, the big news was last weekend when we seen that upper air low eject out of the southern United States into the central plains that brought some thunderstorm activity to areas south of Nebraska, and in particular southeastern Nebraska, where we've seen an area of 2 to 3 inch rainfall occur just south of the I-80 corridor between Lincoln and Omaha, and a little bit of that also hit portions of south central Nebraska. But as you move north and west of that area, we've seen the precipitation totals drop off rather dramatically, and unfortunately for much of the Sandhills region, we didn't see anything in the way of significant moisture, and this is an area that desperately needs it. Then on Wednesday, we've seen another reinforcing shot of cold air move through as an upper air low pivoted across the northern upper Midwest, and that brought in some light scattered shower activity to portions of northeast and east central Nebraska, but areas to the west, unfortunately, missed out on this precipitation. And unfortunately, with the high winds, we did see some fires break out that were rather rapid moving, and this is also a concern of us that we need to see some moisture to alleviate this high fire danger. So do we have anything in the forecast? Let's take a look at the next 7 days, and as we go to the upper air models, what we're going to notice is the big upper air low that was responsible for the high winds is now pivoting out toward the northeast. In its wake, we got a northwest flow across the northeastern part of the state, and we're expecting highs to be primarily in the low 60s as we see some residual cloud cover rotating around this upper air low. Closer to the high pressure system is going to try to build in during the weekend. We're going to see much warmer conditions, and we should make it into the mid 70s to possibly even upper 70s across southwestern Nebraska. Now as we go into Sunday, that ridge starts to build in. We got a nice southwesterly flow in the upper atmosphere. It's going to bring much warmer temperatures into our region, so we're going to be looking at highs across northern Nebraska in the low 70s, and we possibly will hit the 80-degree mark across portions of southern Nebraska. Now as we go into Monday, we're going to start to see some energy moving out, but most of this looks like it's going to be south of the state right now, so on Monday we're not expecting any significant moisture. We're looking at highs in the northwest, closer to this upper trough trying to move in. That'll be primarily in the upper 60s, and then as we get to southeastern Nebraska, closer to the warmer air of this ridge, we'll be looking at highs in the mid 70s. Now on Tuesday, we start to see that trough building closer. That's going to pump up a little bit of warm air across the southern portion of the state. We're looking at highs again in the mid 70s. And as we get toward northwest Nebraska, again, we're going to be looking at highs in the mid 60s as we are going to be under persistent cloud cover. Now on Wednesday, the system starts to make its way toward us, and we might eject some energy out that might give us some scattered showers, but nothing significant. We'll be looking at highs in the north or in the mid 70s. In the south, we could be approaching the low 80s. As we go into Thursday, now this trough starts to make its move toward us, and we'll be looking at highs approximately in the mid 70s across the northwest. And as we get into extreme southeastern Nebraska, we may be looking at the low 80s. As we go into Friday, now the system starts to make its way, and this looks to be a decent shot of moisture for us. We'll be looking at highs in the lower 50s northwest to the mid 70s southeast. 8 to 14-day forecast does show cooler trend moving in, and in terms of precipitation, above normal to our north, and some of that may actually slip down into the state of Nebraska.